Are we live? We might be, but my chat is not working. Refresh. Hello? Alright, chat's up. Let's see if I can squish this. I can't. Fuck OBS Studio, dude. Maybe it's a scene. What if I... Wait, what? If I full screen it? Alright, we're just gonna full screen it. That's fine. First time, let's see. We've got chat up top. Let me move this down. We haven't streamed game dev in a long time. So this is going to be a bit of a, getting back into it. The stuff I'm going to be doing today is just mostly refactoring. Taking the project in its like super disorganized state and then just trying to clean it up a bit. So most of that is going to be the code, I think. I do have the Unity project open. Like right now the graphics are trash, so not looking to really do anything there, but I'm just gonna go through renaming shit. We're streaming this just as a way to kind of get back into it. I do remember streaming, doing the game dev stuff made it easier to do outside of work, so gonna bring that back. And also best idea I've ever had, so just gotta move forward with that kind of shit when you got it. Let's see. So I changed the canvas, and then let me actually see. Okay, yeah. So I got the button to swap scenes. When we're in Unity, I'll just do the Unity shit here. So this is gonna be the world canvas, technically, I think, is what I kind of want to call it. But I don't know. Combat canvas. The fact that this isn't connected. This thing, there we go. But yeah, it's going to be pretty boring in these early streams. Once, we get further along, it's going to start making more and more sense. But for now, I'm just looking to get back into it. Player cast bar, that does matter, and we're going to put that where it belongs. I think that's fine. Player monobar, same shit. All in the player action zone, yeah. Okay. I don't know what half of this other shit is. I don't think we need the timer. I don't think we need that reset. This we do have access to and do use. Oh. Enemy cast bar? Actually? I guess so. Okay. Event system, I don't give a fuck about. Game manager, I don't think we're using game manager right now. It might be how we're calling the damage shit, but... we might actually be using round duration. Yeah, we are. Okay. This is something I'm going to make note. Just figure out, like, game manager? So it's current round controller, but if I don't have... The project wasn't set up. Let me actually just go to combat and see what's up. Mark is red. Okay, current round. Player manager resets. NPC reset, reset combat? This is why I'm confused. It doesn't seem like I was resetting the round ever. So, I'll make a note. Like, I'm trying to think of what I want to do right now. This is included in refactoring stuff, but I just... If I get stuck just refactoring every little thing, instead of what I actually want to do here. Oh, this was when I was doing actual countdown. Which we're going to bring back, but not in the way that it's like every level is going to have a timer running down. So let me just keep going through it, right? Like, I mean, this we're not using. Where's the current round getting set, though? The fact that it's referenced everywhere is kind of trippy. Obviously, we would want to change that. Travel time, then damage time. I'm glad I actually did this, even though I don't know how. Sure, let's just do this. Wait, wait. Where does the current round get set? That's the confusing part to me. Current round. I just have a single round and that's it. And then that round's supposed to have an enemy. Yeah, we'll get through all this shit later. So technically we're using a single round. I want to see if I can reset the current round. But I don't know what that would do to the DPS meters right now. So I'm just going to set this shit to 0 and just see what happens. So I had swapped over from like doing a bunch of prototype coding stuff to like actually trying to turn it into a playable prototype. It was too early. Or I guess it wasn't too early. What it made me realize is like it's not fun. I need to do more work before the playable prototype's gonna be fun. So we're now resetting the round. It doesn't reset the DPS. So I need a way to clear the damage meter. And I don't think... Oh, we do. Okay. So where's this called? Nowhere. Okay. So all I gotta do is call that. And then I'm assuming this will work. And fuck it. Also, yeah, I need to change... God, even just how I set that up was terrible. I went from having something where it was easy to prototype everything out. The character always had every spell unlocked, shit like that. I just need to add in like a debug mode. Okay, next round. As long as that doesn't bug out. Yeah. Okay, we're back. Damage meters reset, that's fine. How do we get here? I'm again, there's just a lot of shit right now. So like this doesn't make sense to me. Cuz it shouldn't be updating. Now I get why the numbers were always fucking wrong. Oh, okay. And then I'm going to need to figure out how to, once again, it's been a while since I've streamed coding, so swapping back and forth between the code and the project is going to get annoying, I think, so I'll mostly keep it on the code. But the round controller is always running. This update loop is always running, so I just need to change this to be called somewhere else. And basically, I'm taking Game Manager and turning it into not Game Manager. Yeah, so this is the actual game loop that we have, and it is in combat. So all of my damage numbers from that little damage meter were skewed from just how long I just like started. So now the damage numbers should be almost exact, like if I start casting. I think it makes sense. And then once again, I'll get into the habit of swapping back and forth. But for now, yeah, we're cleanup mode. Okay, next round, reset. What is this, 30? No spell name? Fire Blast has no spell name? Okay. We went through and re-prefabbed all of these, so I think I did miss out on some names. This is something I need to clean up. We're not actually allowing this to be set in the editor, so let's actually change that. The level might be good to see, but for now it's fine. Heal. That's something I might want to tweak in the editor. It's fine. The thing I need to decouple is actually the bottom part of this. So every single time I make a new spell, I have to like drag this shit over. It's kind of annoying. I'm not going to refactor that yet, because we're not going to be doing spells today. We're going to be doing some kind of new system that buffs spells. But okay, instant abilities, fire blasts, yeah. Guessing the potions don't have names. They do. All right, I'm going to set up a debug mode, I think. Where essentially, where do we have all the abilities? Do we have them anywhere? The shop UI. So the shop has damaging abilities, buff abilities, potion abilities. So I could just go through all of those lists. And for the debug mode, just give them to the player. Enable ability grid. Using upgrade shit. Populate shop. Let's see if this works. Init run would be initial. And I'm just gonna add a bool. Let's see. Combat debug mode. So this is still gonna pull up. So it should have run. I think it instantly gave us every ability, and then if we go next rounds, yeah, we have everything. Okay. And I'm doing this just to unlock what we're about to test next, and what we're really gonna dig into, which is so that gives every ability that we have. But what we're going to dig into is figuring out exactly how I want to handle adding like a layer on top of this system, which interacts with the abilities and spells in a way that allows for like multiplicative scaling, basically. Currently, the thing I was testing was just a linear scaling system. So you can, you know, if we go back to the code, go back to ability, the damage, cast time, cooldown, mana cost, crit chance, and then lucky hit. I'm actually, I don't know what I want to call it, but just stealing it from D4. But it's like a buff chance is what I'm thinking, or like debuff chance. It's basically a value that we can tweak and then use in ways where like it's not. Even now I'm thinking about it, wondering why. Because you don't even need to do that. You could basically just make crit chance like, oh yeah, this thing procs on crit, but now crits don't do extra damage. And then lucky hit is just that, but without, like, there's the fact that I'm making this a system. Let me see if I don't think I reference it. I don't think it's, we might touch on this today when I add debuffs, but I honestly almost don't want to think about it yet. We do use it. Okay. This is how I'm applying buffs right now. So I should say buff chance. And then the idea there being that it includes debuffs. Based on your buff chance, based on your lucky hit. Like it, we'll leave it. Anyways, these values are scaling. Again, just some, you know, I can make their scaling exponential. But the idea here is that we're taking this from Baltro. These are going to be equivalent to the planet cards, and upgrading the planet cards, upgrade the hands. In this case, they upgrade the abilities. What I want to add next is essentially the Joker system. And how the Joker system is going to work is it's going to be multiplicative on top of all this shit. And now I'm trying to think. What is the difference when it's just an extra system, I guess? So like adding a level to any of these, I'm now also realizing that each ability has a level in each one of these things, and that wasn't the case. So like I might add the ability overall to have a level. Also, sorry about the noise. Holy shit. But all right, we just got to do more thinking. I also need to add a tab for paint. Yeah, so if I'm gonna be playing this game, Let's pull it up, actually. Just look at the shop real quick so I can visualize this shit. So you're in the shop. I added this thing here that shows each one of these things levels, and like this idea of like, okay, you can upgrade the damage or the cast time, which is equivalent to damage, or the mana cost, etc. What if instead of doing this shit, the ability just has a singular level that goes up? It buffs the ability by a flat amount across the board, because like I guess cast time is essentially the multiplicative thing, and like damage is the chips. You have to use it. And then maybe I do that. So damage and cast time is tied to the ability level, and then these other modifiers, maybe I don't tie them to the ability itself. Or I add ability tags. But in this case, those would come from this other system, the Joker. Not the Joker. I'm trying to think, because then abilities, if the ability is the equivalent of a card, then the ability, okay, so the ability has a level. No, the hand has a level. So I've just been thinking about it totally wrong then. Because if you're upgrading the abilities as if they're hands, then that would be like upgrading a single card. Which might be fine. But if I'm looking to add like, so what is this ability? Arcane Fire Barrage or something? This is Fire Barrage. So if you upgrade Fire Barrage, higher damage, maybe... I wanted you to make it... Oh, okay. I remember what I was doing. So I was setting this up so that we could just test everything. And I think that's a totally fine way to go about it. Though now I'm realizing making it... I was doing two things at once, and now I'm realizing we don't need to do that. So basically all I need to do is make it really easy to test every kind of value for any ability that we have. During prototyping, basically. One of my ideas was that I was going to really hone in on a set of abilities that you could use. Wait, is this just Pyroblast twice? What happened here? No, that's Pyroblast, this Fireball. I gotta change the Fireball prefab. Cool. Fucking A. It's a lot. I'm trying to decide how I want to lay the project out right now. Right, so let me think. At the moment, it doesn't matter how I do this. If each part of the ability has a level, if I just want to make the entire ability have a level that goes up, I could just increment every single one of the sub levels, and that's totally fine. If I want to add an effect on top, which is like this does 2 times damage, I think we have that. We could also add a flat damage bonus potentially if we want. And then... So there's increased and there's more. And we don't have increased. We don't have that concept yet. Oh god, I don't know if I want to do that yet either. But I guess we have to, right? So then... Let me check. Let me check if we have that yet. So I kind of want to hide this shit. This is what this is what I'm looking to get rid of. This one. This whole system right here. This is a buff. And I'm looking to just redo the buff system today. It's gonna take a lot of work, but let me check. And then this is a concept that I haven't seen anybody else do, and we're definitely gonna bring this shit back. I think it's one of the more interesting dynamics when it comes to... I'm trying to think if it even matters. The only reason why this is good is if you can get the cooldown of your abilities low enough that it feels comfortable waiting for the cooldown to like proc over and over again. But currently we don't actually use any of this shit. Right? We do. No? Okay. This is pulled over code from one of my other projects. So technically these are running. But at no point do I care about these other timers right now. So. There's no visual, there's no nothing. We'll come back to that shit. But anyways, the idea here being... So what is snapshot damage? I think this is just something that we use. Yeah, it's just a member variable that we use across the board. I think it's because of instant and how it's set up. Or no, channeled. So channeled when you cast versus when the actual damage goes through. I needed it to be tied to the ability itself. I don't like this at all, thinking about it. But we are not going to touch that today. I should start commenting though. Remove whatever this is. And just figure out a way. I don't know how snapshotting should be set up. It's almost, I feel like it's almost like an artifact of systems, but like I definitely want to add it. Give me a moment. Sweet. All right. Where do I have multipliers then? It's on the player itself. That's where I have them. So then this, we're going to add to abilities as well. So we have cooldown multipliers. We don't have damage multipliers at the moment. Which that's a whole nother thing. So the character is probably going to have damage multipliers as well. But for now, let's just add to abilities this concept. I don't know if we're going to be taking this anywhere. I don't think it matters. Figure it out later. Okay, damage multiplier, damage increased multiplier, damage more. Does that make sense? increase fireballs damage by 10%. Increase fireballs do 10% more damage. Do I actually want to go that route? Because we're going back, we're thinking back to Balatro. So why does it work? But in PoE it confuses the fuck out of everybody. So it's just the plus versus the times. So it's plus, but because it's a flat, how did they figure it out? It's just plus increased times increased. I mean, it's the same with Diablo 4. So basically, I'll just need, wherever I put this stuff, you're just going to have the X or the plus to indicate what's going on. But like, what I'm trying to think about right now is why would I want on the ability itself the more multiplier instead of this being like a generic thing that applies to the character, right? So like, I don't think we need this here. So the ability itself just needs... okay, but if I'm upgrading abilities, or like if an ability has... I'm just nitpicking, like trying to design the system out, but when it comes to the foil, hollow, whatever rare cards in Balatro, I'm trying to decide where that data is going to live. So if you make like an ability hollow or whatever, it goes from like common to epic. And that does something to the ability. It should live on the ability. I just don't know if it makes sense for that to happen. Or if it does live on the ability, then I need to make the damage calculated with it in one location. So if we go to like basic ability here, which I'm not realizing, yeah, there's a lot. There's so much shit here, man. So just checking where the damage happens. So you target, calculate damage, snap. Okay, player instance, apply damage scaler and buffs. So this is the concept that I'm thinking of right now. So like in here we go through our buff list. In here we'd also have to check the ability for any of its scalars as well, I think. Which is fine. So the ability itself does have, let's add this back in. So it could have an increased, and it could have a more. And then I think it's also gonna have an added. And then how does that tie into damage increment? So this is flat damage or like added damage. I think I need to rename this. It's the level of the added damage, level of damage increment. This is the base damage. Or I could just call this base damage, and this is base damage level. Let's go with that. This is going to be added on top. This is going to be multiplied in, and I'm not actually going to touch this at all right now. I don't think. This is a future system. I'm just designing this out, just because I thought about it in the moment. Okay. And then just being aware of how this is going to play out with, let's say this has, you know, Fireball does 50% more damage. We're going to include that in the, I mean, let's just go do that, actually. I have the ability to, so why not? Okay. Damage scaler. That's a little annoying. It's returning a value that, wait, does that make any sense? It does, but it doesn't. So this is the snapshot damage, and I'm multiplying it by a value. What I want to do is I'm just going to pass in the snapshot damage, and then we're going to do the entire calculation in there, because it doesn't, I hate how this looks right now. So let's change this. We'll come up with more descriptive names later. I have to change this in 4 separate spots. And then it's also going to have to return an int. Also, the fact that I have a crit thing here is a little wonky, but I think it's fine. Wait, what? Wait, what? Did I miss in the other spot where it was calculating enemy damage? No, okay, so that's because that happens down here. I don't even want to think about that yet. I don't want to think about it. Living Bomb debuff is another thing that we might actually refactor today during the debuff refactor. Okay, so basically how this was working before was this, essentially. And now I'm just adding this idea of added damage. The ability itself had it. Then we're also adding the ability int total damage, final damage, incoming damage times this damage scalar value, which doesn't make sense to me. This is on the oh no, is this crit? That's not good. Crit's just a damage scalar, which isn't what I wanted. I guess it is what it is. And then we'll cast it all. Okay. Plus added. Wait, we have the ability, right? Yeah. I'm so mad. Get out of here. Where was it? Was it in the... No, okay. Okay. Apply damage scalar buffs. Okay. So what should I do? Calling this final damage. God damn it. Combined damage. Increased. This doesn't make sense. Dude, the naming is the worst part of this shit, especially early on, especially when I'm designing this shit for the first time. And I'm just gonna do trash for now. We're changing this. What is this value going to be? This is damage done. So this is a total damage scalar that I don't think I want. That's because this is technically just an increase. And then damage done buff needs to change from whatever this is to include increased versus more. And then this is always going to be more as a crit, so we'll just rename it. And now I need to decide if I want to make... What is this? Am I going to make it a percent? Or am I just going to make it a number? So if you want to increase something by 100%, you just set it to 1. Like, that doesn't make too much sense to me. But if it isn't a percent, and it's just a flat value, and you see something like this, I feel like that's probably better, just to visualize. So it's default 0. This we are changing. This has a damage done scalar on it? Okay, and then we need to change those values as well. More damage percent. So this is wrong as well, right? We're going from this to 50. Damage done percent. Damage taken percent. And this would be increased. I don't know what this is actually. Gotcha, okay. What is this? This was for Living Bomb specifically. We're definitely going to change that shit. I don't know if we're doing it today now that we're just kind of off the rails just doing stuff. Okay. So increased damage percent is added to this overall value. And then the thing I need to change is this more damage percent. So this doesn't actually make sense. So basically, more damage is just calculated over and over again. How's it going, dude? It's been a while since I've coded some, done some game dev streaming, and I'm just trying to figure it out. We got really into it, I think, 2 years ago. And I've kind of just been ghosting along for 2 years, not really knowing what I'm doing. And I just decided yesterday, no, I decided this morning we're gonna make it. We're just gonna make this fucking game. Goal by the end of the year, and then next year trying to get people to play it. But shit, I don't know. Okay, so more damage multiplier. We actually need to change how this is gonna work. For the buff counter, this is all gonna have to happen at the end. Increased, it doesn't matter. We can add it all together and then multiply it, but I just want to see if I want to have 2 for loops or not. We'll just do 2 for loops, and then, again, this ain't no refactor stream. When it comes to efficiency, it's refactoring a system so we can add in Joker cards, basically, from Balatro. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is useless. So that's gone. Which means this is gone. And we already have this value here that says crit. So I think we just... Yeah, so this doesn't work, actually. So now it's this. Or I could technically just add instances of... Okay, yeah, I take it back. So this is just going to be a list. %50 more for... and I don't need to cast this shit. Fuck it. We cast it at the end. You don't actually need it if you're... Oh, cool. Right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we added this idea of added damage. Okay. We now have increased damage. And then we have a final more damage. And more is added based on the buff or based on crit. So more here, and then we need to check if damage done. So this needs to get renamed to increased. And then so does the damage taken. I don't know what I just fucked up. Oh, shit. Okay, so calculate damage. So we did... This is player-based. So this is player applied damage scalar buffs. I'll rename this eventually. But how this works is this gets us our damage value. And then we pass it to take damage. And then the enemy has a calculate damage value. So this is the equivalent of what we just did, but on the other end. So if I want to make this identical, this is going away. Or no, this is, how do we name it? We'll just stick with the same naming convention. And then crit chance. Why did I do this up here? Oh, this is stupid. Is this why I did this? That's terrible. Yeah, okay, we'll figure. Like, the buff system is the first thing that is going out the door. Anyways. And then did I have an added? Or I don't, because it's just going to be based on, so in this case it's the ability added damage in the, there could just be a flat value on my player, so it's going to be all buffs. The whole system's going to be based on buffs. So even if I increase my player's stats, it would just be through a buff, maybe? Anyways. We'll do added damage later, but increase damage taken. And then I need to change this from the value that it is to a percentage. So if it's a hundo, how did I have this set up before? If it was 0.5, now it's going to be 50. Am I actually spacing out? Is it just this? Is that all it is? Am I crazy? 100% increase. You do double damage. You multiply it by 2. 100% times... No, so you'd have to fucking... Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Get me out of here for a moment. We're gonna go back to this other one. So this doesn't actually work. I don't even know what this plus is doing here. Wait, how did I think we were good to go? Hold up. This damage is gonna be incoming damage. Yes, and then this is supposed to be this value up here. Same with this. And then we can maybe, yeah, let's move the... Added damage is always going to be an int for now. If it's an issue, we'll rethink it, but I don't think it is. Need to close all this shit. Incoming damage plus added damage. Incoming damage. And then this is going to be a percent. So if it's a 50% damage increase, how do I actually calculate this out and why am I spacing out on this shit so hard? Oh, math. All right. It does 5 damage. And we have a 50% increase. It's actually going to be 5 plus 5 times 0.5. So is that it? We just do incoming plus... Hey, How's it going, dude? Welcome to the stream. It's been a while. I'm gonna keep saying this. I'm gonna sound like a broken record in these early streams, but I haven't been doing game dev in probably about a year, 2 years, and it's gonna take me a while to get back into not only doing this, but doing it live and then making it entertaining. So, okay, so this is gonna be a plus, and then we're gonna do just the multiplication, and it should be good to go. Right, so if it was 100%, it's 100 times 0.1. So 5 plus 5 times, that's 5 hundo, and then 1% of 5 hundo is 5, right? I'm doing good. I'd been wanting to find an excuse to start streaming more regularly again, and I've been hopping from game to game, and I really hadn't found something that kind of like hooked me lately. I've been doing a lot of WoW Classic, a decent amount of Diablo, decent amount of PoE. So instead, and it was during the era where I was like most consistently streaming every day. I was doing game dev a lot. So I think what I'm gonna do is primarily game dev, and then if I don't feel like it on any given day, but I want to keep the schedule going, we could be doing some gaming. But yeah, okay. Boom. So this one worked. This is not how this works. So we have to do this again. So this is final damage. I don't like this shouldn't be incoming damage. I'm just going to rename this to damage. Okay. So now I think I did this correct. So these numbers are going to be from 0 to whatever, like essentially the percent here instead of it being a float. What is a float? Actually, hold up. So I think these should be ints. .5% increased damage. We'll leave it. Okay. We have to take this and carry this over to the enemy now, though. So like this is wrong, and then just how we have it set up, we want to do that again. Oh, I'm not returning. Gotcha. So I do need the cast at the end. Okay, I thought I was losing my mind last time I was doing this. Okay, increased damage taken, more damage taken, and then we could do flat added if we wanted to. More damage taken percent, int added damage taken 0. And then we would add these as values to the enemy manager if we want. This is the damage that's incoming. This is increased. Final damage, added damage taken, plus increased damage taken percent. Okay. We're going to take a look and find out if I broke the project. Because we tweaked some values that were public. Or like we renamed them. So if I go to my buffs. And visuals right now are kind of shitty, so like don't worry about that. Hopefully you're gonna figure out some art this week. And it was kind of why I was waiting to stream. I wanted to get some art in before I did it. But it doesn't make sense to wait. Just do it, and then we'll eventually get the art in there. So the buffs themselves, I only have, these are buff abilities. Gotcha. These are the actual buffs. I just called it Fire Blast debuff. Increased damage taken %. So I don't even think we have this to test, actually. Let me just add it to the Fire Blast ability. Or Fireball, whatever. Wait, and then this doesn't have a lucky hit chance? Fuck. Applied buff. Fire Blast debuff. Let's see if this actually works. So that was Fireball, and there's no visual. I think I set the visual up to work. I also need to move where this shit gets instantiated, so it's underneath the parent, so it just doesn't keep moving around the combat. Okay, so it's Fireball's doing 25 damage. Is that what it's supposed to be doing? I don't like how I can't see this shit anymore. Okay, so base damage is 25. Let me see what the lucky hit is. Base lucky hit is 0. Am I actually using this anywhere? Am I using lucky hit chance anywhere? Yes. Okay. So I need to change the Fireball. We're back to the code. We're going to go a hundo. See if that works. Yes, but it put it on me? So is that the wrong... What did I just do? Why did it put that on me? Wait, what? Hold up. What? Player.instance that applied. If applied buff. Do I have... I swear I had applied debuff. Oh, it's because it was a basic. Okay. We need to change how this shit works. So I only had it set up for the instant ability, I think. There's an applied debuff slot. Yeah. Okay. I'll just add it to wherever Fireball is, we're removing that shit. And then I need to clean that up, obviously, and make it identical across the board. But for now, it's not. Instant Fireball. Lock that shit, dragon. That. Unlock. We need to change Fire Blast % now. I'm looking at the code. Like, this is... I want to see if there's a way for... Eventually we can design this to be, like, way easier to edit. But, okay. Now, anytime we use Fire Blast, it's going to apply a debuff to the enemy, and then I want to set it up to use the new system that we just added to actually increase the damage based on the value given. So that's doing 25. Hit him with a Fire Blast. It applies a Fire Blast debuff. It also secondary... I have 2 keys bound to 1, I guess. And it is not increasing the damage, and that is because I think there's nothing here. So increased damage done %. No, increased damage taken %. Let's do 40% and see if this actually does what I want it to. And then we can do the more % as well. Holy fuck. I feel like that didn't work. Okay, so what the fuck just happened? Hold up. Also, it doesn't look like it's resetting the enemy debuffs. Let me change this ability to not be triggered on one. Consume on... What the fuck? Wait, what? Oh! Anyways. Consume on use ability. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted. I have too much shit, man. This is going to get consumed on channeled use, so this one. Coding. Oh, shit. I'm not even... Yeah, okay. Here, increased damage taken 40%. What I was going to look at was the... We're going to change the channeled ability Fire Barrage to not proc on 1, or it is on 1. And then we want to change the instant ability Fire Blast to not be 1, to be 3. Okay. So, base Fireball, 25 damage. Fire Blast applies the debuff. Oh, I put Fire Living Bomb on 3. This is something that I haven't set up yet. But we're going to fix this so that you could actually change the keybinds, obviously. But I'll get there. Okay, Fireball 25. I'm spacing out. We can Fire Blast mid-cast. Fireball just did a trillion more damage. So, yeah, why? What the fuck was I thinking? It's not 0.1, right? It's 0.01. Is that the only thing I did wrong? Instead of it being 5 times damage, it should be 0.5 times damage. But then that's not even true. It should be 0.4 because it was a... Which, that's a little weird, so... Okay. 25. Apply the debuff. Nope. I rebounded to 3. Apply the debuff. 25 becomes 35. That's it. We did it. Okay, cool. I had to do the math. I need to disable fuck this game, dude. Fuck the game that I'm making. We have to disable the environmental effects. I'm getting sick of getting interrupted while playing. That's kind of the point, but yeah, get out of here, please. Okay. Okay, so we have, that's added. Let's test out more. And then while we're at it, we're going to change. Yeah. I like how this works. Eventually I'm going to have a more structured stream, more structured project when it comes to what I'm actually doing. Today it's all freestyle. So basically I had one feature I wanted to work on. We haven't gotten there at all. I've been distracted the entire time cleaning up this piece of shit project. And I'm distracted once again. So basically, I have sub variables in these abilities, and I need these to not be... These are going to be overall. So like this shit should not be referenced in this way. I want to see if I actually have more... Let's just go to the project and pull up each ability one at a time. The heal has an applied buff. Get the shit out of here. The buff ability has an applied buff? The fuck does that mean? This is a buff ability? Yeah, okay, change that. Realizing calling something a buff ability doesn't make too much sense. Healing potion. Potion itself has an applied buff. And we're removing it. Add buff, applied buff. Applied buff does not exist. Applied debuff does not exist. Okay. So I removed it from the subclasses. The classes that inherit from the main class. We're going to go to the main class and just add it there. And it's not going to be one, it's going to be multiple. I don't know. Well, God, it's so messy, but it doesn't matter. So this is going to be buffs to apply. And then we're going to have debuffs to apply. And now I'm wondering... Or I could just have a list of buffs. And then the buff itself gets broken down and decided like how it works. So like if the buff is... Because basically what I'm thinking of, like buffs to apply to player, debuffs to apply to enemy. But I could have debuffs you apply to the player as well, based on the ability. Right? But yeah, I don't know. This just seems stupid. Like, I'm not going to do any of this shit right now. Anyways, any place that we're looking to apply a buff. Instead, going to loop through this list. This is a potion, cast instant. This is buffs to apply. I made these private and not protected. Buffs to apply to player. And I should make this... No, it's fine. Add buff. Is it actually just a game object? I don't want to do that. I'm setting up this project in a weird way, where instead of using scriptable objects, I'm using just prefabs. So I should probably change it, but I don't. God, I hope this doesn't bite me in the ass later. But anyways, we have to do this everywhere now. Applied buff does not exist. This is a buff ability. This is identical to how we want to handle this. Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, shit. Interesting. So this isn't buffs to apply to player. This is buffs to apply to NPC. So guess what? I don't like it. I hate it. This is the worst. Was it really called? God, wait. Why are they all named fucked? Player buffs. Player debuffs. NPC buffs. NPC debuffs. Buffs. This was MP. Wait, what? I just copy pasted this over? Okay. This is applying a buff based on the lucky hit. We can change it overall if we want to, but for now I think this is fine. Where are we? This is basic ability. So this is in fact the player buff. And then apply debuff. Oof, what is this? I don't like this. What is this? Instant ability. Where do we add the other one? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Take me back. Applied debuff. Enemy debuffs. We're removing the chance here. Which doesn't make sense. So I didn't even have... Yeah, fuck it. We need the chance still. Which means we need the chance everywhere. Oh, God. Buff chance. So the buff chance being based on the ability as opposed to the buff doesn't make sense. So I need to make it based on the buff. Do I want to add that right now? I don't think I do. I'm just gonna... Oh my god. Okay, for now we're just gonna leave it as is. So the logic is just gonna work how it is supposed to work. So this is gonna be... Boom. This is player buffs. Oh shit, I gotta change. I probably have to change that. I'm going to clean this up just so we could go through quickly and see where I changed this. Fire blast, fireball. So 100% instant ability, 100% basic ability. So this is player manager add buff. Player buffs. This is what I want to verify. Enemy debuffs. Enemy add enemy debuff. Basic heal. No. Oh, we didn't get there yet. It's potion. NPC buffs, NPC, NPC. Okay. I think we're good. The final one is basic heal. And then this is just copied over, I think, for basic ability. Player instance dot add buff. And that's because, so that actually doesn't make sense. But I'm just going to need to add these everywhere. Right? So hold up. I might actually, man, coding like this is kind of tripping me out. So this isn't how I code at all normally. Good amount of time at work. Everything is done ahead of time, right? Like planning, trying to figure stuff out. And then you jump into it and like design a feature. Here I'm like letting, like there's too many things that I need to do. I need to do everything. And as I'm designing, or like as I'm getting to each one, I'm now in like a much better spot of just like deciding how I want to refactor in the moment. And then even now, so what I'm about to do is stupid as shit, and because we'd have to have six for loops here. So I don't want to do that, right? And then I'm trying to think of how to set this up to just have a reusable logic based on what buff list you add. So that it'd be a single for loop that just calls out. But what I'm getting stuck on is this. So like lucky hit chance, right? It's like, do I want to keep using this in the short term? So it's a chance that your player has to apply. Like basically, what I think I need to do is remove this for now. So as well as, so basically, I'm removing this everywhere. The thing that we are refactoring right now is getting just completely removed. Ah, okay, so this one can't. And that's because I don't know how Living Bomb works. So we'll refactor Living Bomb eventually. And that is not the only debuff. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just set this. Wait, actually, oh fuck. I think we're screwed. Okay. To refactor this. I want to add this to the parent. So cast instant. Where does this get called? This gets called an instant ability. Are these in the parent class? Yes. Okay, so basically we just do this. The enemy manager doesn't inherit from player manager, does it? Why can't things just be easy, man? Player manager is its own entity, and then enemy manager, I'm almost positive, is its own entity, and then I think NPC is an enemy. Since it's hidden in the ability manager, I don't give a fuck. All buffs and debuffs. Do we have an NPC manager? I don't think we do, right? How was I doing this then? Somewhere, does player manager have the NPC? Yes, cool. I say that like it's okay. It's not okay. That's terrible how I have this set up. So that's gonna need to change eventually. And then this is gonna be another issue. So I have a list of enemies right now, but I've only prototyped out one. I hate this. All right. And then we were talking about buff chance, so I'm going to actually change how buffs work. And now I'm realizing that this is a buff, right? Buff ability? Hell yeah, okay. Wait, this is a buff ability? No. This is supposed to be a buff. And then what I want to add is buff chance. Chance to apply buff percent. Buff application percentage. Apply buff percentage? I don't know, man. I don't know what we're talking about. And then we just use that for in the ability here. And in the future, if I make the player manager and the NPC controller and the enemy all inherit from the same class, we can giga clean this shit up, but I don't care right now. The stuff we're trying to add and refactor is tied to actually seeing features. Enemy debuffs. Okay, all of these are a hundo right now. None of these happen anywhere else except for instance, and this is only for living bomb. So we're gonna test the new system with the changes I just made. So if we go to Fire Blast again, now it has all these lists. I'll probably move it to the bottom, or like I'll refactor this shit so you don't have to see it that often, but Fire Blast was going to do an enemy debuff. We're going to add our buff here. Why is this not? These are buff abilities. I need to rename this. Buff abilities. There we go. And we have the Fire Blast debuff here. And I think it should work. So it's an enemy debuff, increased damage taken. If we hit play, is it going to work? No. Because I'm not calling it. We are never calling apply all buffs and debuffs. So let's go do that. And I'm setting this up to be why does this not matter? Let me think. Could just have two separate functions, one that takes in the list, one that doesn't. Just check if the list doesn't equal null. I don't know. This is one of those moments where it's like, I don't care. But it's just weird that we're passing in. Like this is essentially, if I want to keep refactoring, I would change this right now. We're not going to. Yeah, so let's just add a note. We'll refactor later. Instant basic potion, basic. I need to add this to every type here. Anything with a cast. And then like a buff ability. Can a buff ability apply a buff? Or it's just guaranteed to apply a buff? Okay, so basic ability, basic heal. Buff ability, I guess, is where we need to add it, strangely enough. Okay, so channeled ability. This one's weird because it's channeled, so when you cast it, there's a start time and there's an end time, so I think we need to make a differentiator there, but I don't give a fuck right now. We're just going to do this and apply it when you start it, not when you end it. But yeah, we could change that. Anyways. I think those are 6 ability types right now. Basic, channeled. Anyways, let's see. I think this should work now. So we added the new debuff to Fire Blast. It now applies it. Let's see if it actually does the application. Should be doing 35 damage, and it works. And then essentially a system like this, so what I just changed is it's way more modular, right? So if we go to Fire Blast again, we have all these lists now, right? And if I want, I think you could just duplicate, right? Yeah. So say I do this. We're testing our new system out, right? Now Fire Blast applies 5 separate increased damage taken buffs. Alright. We failed and I see why. Likely because one of these is wrong. J? We need J? J. And I kind of hate it being J on the outside, so kind of want to reverse everything, but that sounds like a nightmare. Oh, you didn't see it. You didn't see my shame. Okay, again, so now we're testing Fire Blast 5 debuffs. It didn't work. Okay, so it didn't work because the system is set up to ignore multiple debuffs, and instead it refreshes them. So if you apply a debuff, it doesn't actually stack. So I need to figure out, so add buff. Buff, if it's the same type, destroy, remove, and then add again. So this could be something that's like in the buff itself that says like stackable and then like stacks or some shit like that. And then it's like a stack effect, so like per effect, like how much. But anyways, yeah, let's not deal with that. Let me add the player buff. So if we go to Fireball, so it has a chance to apply a buff as well, and this is awful at the moment. So in order for me to drag this shit on and off, so what I actually want to do is it something like this where I open it up? I don't think it is, because if I go and click on anything over here, like I need to figure out how to set this up so that I could just click. These need to be scriptable objects, but we're not doing that today. I'm not doing it. It's too much work. For now, we just have to keep locking and unlocking. So we're looking at Fireball. Player buffs. We're going to buffs. It's Fire Barrage buff. And then the Fire Barrage buff is this thing, and we fix this consume on ability use Fire Barrage. So now if we go back and use Fireball, it should when cast apply the debuff. No, sorry, apply the Fire Barrage buff to you, and then when you use Fire Barrage, it should consume that for the extra bonus. It does not look like it's doing that. Increased damage done. Player. Apply buffs. If is increased damage done. Oh, it just doesn't, we never said it. Okay. 100% increased damage done. Fireball. Apply the buff. Arcane Barrage. Twice as much damage. Let me cast Living Bomb, which we put on 9, and just see if that works. So that's using the old system still. It did not work. What just happened? Why didn't that work? Because we didn't change anything with it. I guess we did. Right, because it's just, it's doing this. It's going through and applying. And then what we really want it to do, though, is ignore that. This should be deleting it though. Cast instant. Right, so this should apply it initially, and then it should apply again a second time. Stressing out. Is living bomb buff just broken? Because that could be true as well. Duration, damage over time, etc. So it isn't. What happens if I just remove this? Because it's supposed to be applying enemy debuffs. Oh, no, I just didn't add, okay. And again, this is another thing we have to refactor eventually, but there's an ability that uses... Yeah, so this just didn't have the enemy debuff set. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Ugh. Okay. Living bomb debuff set. We're still using the basic logic, but now it's going to apply twice and just rewrite itself and just be, I think it should be fine. Yeah? Okay. So we have a buff system refactor. We set up the damage to work on added, increased, and more. None of this was what I wanted to do today. What I wanted to focus on is setting up a new concept, which is like, I guess it's going to be more permanent buffs. So I might actually just keep it as a buff. And I might kind of expand out how I'm approaching this in the future. Give me a sec. This is where I would maybe pull Microsoft Paint up and go that route. Because we added a lot of new variables to abilities themselves. We added a lot of variables to buffs. The player has a list of buffs. The list of buffs is updated. The buffs they have set durations, they're consumed. If I want to add a passive, I don't have that yet. And we could do that. And what I'm trying to think is should the system just be that, like if you have, again, we're using Balatro as the template, right? So in Balatro, you have a Joker. In my game, that Joker could just be a passive buff. And then it would just operate with every system here that like operates on buffs. It just gets slotted in and then it just works. I think that's fine. We also changed the buff application, so now it's tied to the buff itself, and we can change that maybe in the future to have like the buff class could have its own sort of conditionals. Right, so like right here we have buff application percentage. I'm spacing out. I'm trying to think if this actually is supposed to live here, because I added it here without thinking about something, which is there are two different things that I have, which is buffs and then buff abilities, where the only thing it does is buff. So like I'm trying to think if the ability... No, it doesn't make sense. Okay. Buffs can be reusable. I can just tweak this number as well. Like there's too much stuff here to really figure out. So like if I look at the different buffs, if I pull up Living Bomb, it's like in Unity, if I'm looking at these things, a lot of these values aren't needed. Right, so if I'm inheriting from the base debuff, or the base buff class, but like Living Bomb only cares about like half of these things, or like even less, and the more should I add, the more it's gonna get clogged up, so I'm wondering if there's like an easy way to not do this. And I don't know. But I think I'm pretty happy with the progress today. I'm getting kind of hungry. When it comes to... Oh, shit. Wait, those don't work. Okay, gotta fix this. 2 buff abilities, Combustion. Combustion gives a player buff. Then the other ability is Time Warp. Time Warp gives a Time Warp buff. Let's see if these still work. Looks like it. Oh yeah. Sweet. Okay, so even with all the changes we have, we didn't break anything, I don't think. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna clean up the project. I think we're done with stream today. Today was, again, first day 1. I might actually tag each of the streams. I remember doing that before with Rogue Daily. It's kind of like a cool way for when you jump in, if you're a new viewer, to understand like, oh, you know, how far along is this project? The early streams, it's not going to make too much sense because obviously I put a lot of work in before getting started. But you know, the longer we go on, if somebody sees we're on day 30, they'll be like, oh, okay. I can't ask like what is, you know, like the most basic stuff because the systems are going to be endless and shit like that. Anyways, when it comes to, you know, where I want to take this, I'm gonna get better and better. Once again, there was a time when I was like really consistent, and I was like good at, I feel like, coding while live. We're not there yet, but after stream, I'm gonna like kind of gather my thoughts, maybe do some more cleanup stuff. But the stream itself is gonna be more a way to interface with people. Once I actually get a playable prototype out there, obviously you guys can stop by and try the game out. Currently, we're not at the stage yet. Really just poking around. I just added some like dev features today, and possibly I could get like a debug / like QA test builds, where players could like tweak values and shit like that, and just kind of go wild with it, and just get that out early, just so anybody who jumps in, that could get linked. But for these early streams, once again, it's just motivating myself to actually get this project going. The last time I actually made a game that I was pretty happy with, this is my approach. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. But if, yeah, anybody who stopped by, thanks for stopping by. Eventually, once we get going as well, I'll be making YouTube videos. So the whole process is going to be recorded, and hopefully I could just chop it up and make something cool. Anyways, all right, I will catch you dudes later.